I have much pleasure in launching Jim Plim Ambassador Extraordinary. Jeremy, you have given us a very clear and convincing portrayal of the outstanding features of Jim's professional life. Let me mention the main ones. His intelligence and his fine perception of balance and nuance. He had a great capacity to look around the world, see what was important. He could see that the world was a very complex place and not everything was running in the same direction, and he was particularly interested in where there were contrary things going on to what the official perception of them was at the time. He had a deep interest in international affairs right across the world, not just in the country to which he was accredited. His knowledge and understanding of Australian national politics, which he used as a framework of feasibility for his own policy advice to his ministers. He understood the limits on their flexibility. He was willing to push them to a certain extent, but he also was very keenly aware of where the line was drawn, and there were some things that an advisor could not press on his minister. Menzies expressed a very perceptive view of him. Plimsoll was not one of those who tried to impress you or who had tickets on themselves. What a relief it must have been to political leaders who sometimes found themselves treated to theatrics or disdain by their advisors. I think that most of us who knew Plim would agree with Robert Menzies and see his qualities as assets to be treasured in a foreign service that was still establishing itself when Plim joined it. He then played a major role in keeping it abreast of complex and powerful changes across the world. And what did these qualities enable him to achieve? The simple answer is great results for Australia over 35 years, both in terms of the policies that he shaped and implemented, and in terms of helping to build a first-class diplomatic service. Why do I think this is an excellent book? First, Plim is such a good subject. Jeremy has discovered and analysed some first-class material on him that has not been published before. Second, Jeremy knew him and many of his contemporaries well. And without that knowledge, a biography as good as this one could not have been written. We can be very grateful to Jeremy for giving us such a clear, interesting and well-balanced view of what Plim did to advance Australian foreign policy over 35 years and to build the department responsible for implementing it into a very fine organisation that can stand on all fours with the best departments of foreign affairs around the world.
So, why a biography of Jim Plim? There have been some 15 secretaries of the department since the Second World War. No less than 6 have written their memoirs. Dick Wilcott is a good example of that. And Plimsoll, I know, intended to, but he didn't manage to do it. I instinctively felt that he was an eminently suitable subject, and it seemed to me that although there were many other outstanding people among his contemporaries, right from my first day in the department, it seemed to me there was a certain aura about Plimsoll, especially because of his role in the Korean War, as Bob has talked to us about. And I think that the two essences of Plimsoll, from my point of view, were that firstly he had a quite extraordinary CV. Very few of us get to be ambassador 8 times, and 8 times all in important places. But more important than that was the extraordinary respect with which he was held overseas. And Plimsoll, I think by his actions in the course of his career, was an early advocate of making information about international developments publicly available as much as possible. He would have seen the AIIA as an important channel Another example of this was his willingness to talk to politicians, to journalists on background in a period when very, very few public servants ever did that. And another was his decision as Secretary to set up in the department an historical documents section. Bob, thank you very much indeed for an absolutely wonderful launch. I think that was a very, very special launch because of the personal account that it was with all the years that you had contact with Jim Plim. In the 30 plus years since Plimsoll retired, many things have changed about the nature of the job of the department both here and abroad. However, the need for good diplomats and especially good ambassadors remains critical, and I hope that this book will contribute to an understanding of this. Thank you very much indeed.